Hi Earthlings, I'm Trice. Are you afraid that your money blocks or your partner's money blocks are going to ruin your finances? Or are you afraid that you have a money block you're so unaware of that you just don't know how to get rid of? Over the past 10 years, my husband has gotten $419,000 worth of debt. Every time we pay it off, he gets some more. This was so frustrating. I felt like we'll never get ahead because of him until I realized it was my money block that was causing it. In 3 simple steps, I'm going to show you how to reveal that sneaky money block and let it go. This subscriber question by Claire Bear really hit home with me because I felt like I had the exact same situation. She asks, what if your partner doesn't believe in manifesting and has lots of money blocks? Does it affect the whole household? This has been my life for the past 10 years. Let me tell you about my 10-year relationship in 1 minute. I met my husband. He thought he didn't have any debt, but I was a budding financial planner and he became my client. A quick review of his assets was that his net worth was a negative. A few years pass and then he finds that he owes his father $25,000 that he forgot about. Then he decides to buy out his business partner for $250,000 without having his business evaluated. And the day that we make the last payment on that, he was under audit at his business and the bill came in for $43,000. In 10 years, we had acquired and paid off $419,000 worth of debt. And I thought it was all his fault and was grumbling because he wasn't a believer in the law of attraction. And I went over to him and I said, honey, clearly, can't you see that you're attracting this? As soon as you pay one thing off, you get another thing. And he is like, bah humbug with your magical thinking stuff, zip on away. But I got what I needed out of that conversation because I was like, hey, if I'm the creator of my universe, why is all this debt showing up in my universe? I must be creating it. And that's where I got this epiphany. I was so frustrated. I was like, why does this keep showing up in my universe? But this concept, everybody is you pushed out, really made me see the reflection so much clearer. If you guys don't know what that concept is, it's every single person that you see is simply a reflection of how you think and feel about yourself. So if you think your boss thinks you're doing a bad job, you would say, why do I think I'm doing a bad job? And the answer will appear. So I tried this with my husband's debt. Instead of saying, why does Matt create all this debt? Why, Trice, are you creating all of this debt? Why do I have all this debt in my life? That's the first step to seeing your money block. Really took a lot of reflection for me to realize that debt was one of my biggest fears. So if your money block is hidden from you, write down all your fears. I was brought up to be petrified of debt. My parents were always pretty lighthearted about our situation. When we asked for something, they'd say, well, we might have to give up the milk money. But I could feel in their vibration their stress about money. This is why the instant I turned 11, I begged for a paper out. The day I turned 16, I applied to work at McDonald's and started investing my money at Edward Jones because I was petrified of not having money. I had a scarcity mindset. And that only really hit home when I could see it on everything. I never had enough time. I never was doing enough exercise. I never was eating enough healthy food. If any of this resonates with you, you might have a scarcity mindset. If you feel like your paychecks are not big enough, or if you're not making enough money, or if your weekends aren't long enough. If this is a perpetual thing that you think, that is a scarcity mindset, and it blocks your money because scarcity is the exact opposite of abundance. Now that you can see your fear clearly, look for where it originated from. Usually it's some childhood event or multiple events. Like my scarcity mindset was because I grew up in an environment that reflected scarcity back to me. We lived in the mountains of Montana where there were no jobs. And so my dad would get seasonal work and then be unemployed. And my mom would work minimum wage as a bank teller at the local bank. It wasn't because they weren't trying to improve their skills, which they did and grew their income, but those formative years, those first 10 years of my life really made me feel that scarcity. There's something so cathartic and freeing about seeing it for what it is.
A story from the past.
I had a client recently and I was telling her, negotiate the price on everything. You don't have to be mean about it. Just say, is there any wiggle room on the price? And if there's not, say thank you. And she found that very hard to do and very skeevy. And when we really got to the bottom of it, it was because she felt cheap and greedy and like she was trying to cheat the person out of it. And that memory was attached to her dad dinging her piano teacher a couple dollars, which she didn't know at the time. But as an adult, when she went to visit the piano teacher, he remembered it and made her feel red with embarrassment and a deep burning shame. This was the reason why she couldn't negotiate. But seeing where it came from allowed her to see how it shaped her life. Instead of trying to reject it and be like, I don't want to be that way anymore, is forgive it. Forgive her dad for being cheap. Forgive her piano teacher for burdening her with that story between her parents. That forgiveness, that acceptance of that event helps dissolve its power over you in a way that trying to change it cannot. Cry if you want to, rage if you want to, feel the feelings that memory brings up in you. I don't know about you guys, let me know in the comments below, but when you get something off your chest or release it into the universe, you just feel better? When my uncle died, I cried buckets of tears. And that made me accept the loss faster than if I just went around in a cocoon pretending that it didn't hurt my heart. Often with law of attraction, we're afraid to feel negative emotions because we're going to now start attracting something. It's like that movie Inside Out. Negative emotions can have a super positive effect. They heal us in a way by letting us feel them and accept them and let them wash through us. It's the holding on to something that creates the resistance. It's not. Earthlings, this is the last step, but it is absolutely essential. This is like baking a cake. You already baked the whole cake and then not putting frosting on it. You need this to complete it, to create that sparkly magic in your life. And you have to replace your old money block with something that you want, something new. Everything in our life is a story that we tell ourselves. That part will never change. The part is that we will just start falling in love with the story we tell ourselves. For example, with my money block of scarcity, I was telling myself that there'll never be enough, living in that perpetual state of fear. I replaced it with this eternal truth that we live in the most abundant universe. And do you see how I can latch onto that? I already believe it, but since I claimed it, since I said that is the belief I'm picking, it's like shopping. And you're picking out the best beliefs they have on the shelf. I'm gonna pick the belief of abundance and feed that into my reality. The way I do it is adopt the belief and then sprinkle it in my world through awareness. There's abundance in my refrigerator. There is abundance of laughter in my house. And instead of fearful of it going away, I just celebrated that it was there. And when you're building an old belief to a new belief, it sometimes can feel like you're walking off a cliff, like your old belief might creep back in and you're like, oh, I never will be able to remove this old belief. It keeps showing up. No. That's because you are creating something new. That is a residual thought of that old habit. That's all it is. Faded memories. But your new belief will be there to catch you, even if you feel like you're walking off a cliff. Earthlings, I'm feeling so playful today. I want to show you something really cool. Have you guys ever been so in love with your outfit that you just wanted to share it with someone? Well, that is how I feel today. Check this out. Is that not the cutest? Thanks for watching.